Hey, everybody, and welcome to part two of our NFL draft coverage on the DLF Trade Show and the DLF YouTube channel. I forgot to keep pointing out the awesome little DLF wooden thing you got back there with our
Mm,
YouTube subscriber count, which
yeah.
is still like the coolest thing ever that it actually updates. Russ Fisher, Dynasty at us, Addison Hayes at Maze Hayes _ here to use the DLF Trade Finder and Trade Analyzer, and just to really, because Addison and I like talking to each other. There's no real other reason.
Facts.
If you all get something out of this, sweet. If not, Addison and I had a good time. That's what matters.
We hung out. We hang out every Wednesday for an hour or so.
And
Best time.
we and and last week we did players that were hurt by the outcome of the NFL draft,
There you go.
value wise.
Yep.
They weren't physically hurt, I hope. Today we're going the other way. We're going to a more happy, or this is my smile motion, that like my hands are making a smile shape, more happy position on players whose values probably got a little bit of a boost, or at least didn't drop like we thought they might. I think that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
So we are going to just jump right in and start talking about Rhamondre Stevenson. This is one of those players where he was doing really, really well last season.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just keep telling ourselves, but it's the Patriots, but it's the Patriots, but it's the Patriots. And Damian Harris was going to be a free agent. So they're just going to draft another second round running back and make another committee out of it and bring James White. Did he retire? I was about to say bring him out of retirement. I have no idea if he's still playing.
I think he retired. Yeah.
And have him catch every single pass to the backfield. But none of that. I loved the Bijan rumors, by the way. Like, that's like the most anti-Patriots thing ever, but the rumors were strong. And clearly that did not happen. And I don't remember off the top of my head completely, but I don't think they brought in any running backs. Or if no, they got James Robinson in free agency before the draft.
Yeah. But nothing significant.
I don't think we're running and hiding from Rhamondre Stevenson because of that.
No.
So this is definitely, I think, a case of what should be a bit of a value bump as opposed to just not losing, because we got past two steps of fear. Free agency, James Robinson is not a threat to Rhamondre Stevenson, and we got through the draft without them spending, if they did any, not a very good capital on a running back. So now all we have to do is make it to the season, make sure that they don't bring in one of these
Fournette
or Fournette, one of these veteran running backs. But I think we should feel good at this point, because what is Zeke right now anyway? The goal line back, a third and short back,
not better than what Damian Harris was last year,
right? So I think we're at the point where we can say, cool, solid RB2 with upside, and he was probably just solid RB2 before. So I think there is a little bit of a bump there. But let's go to trade. Okay. So the first trade is 12-team Superflex, where it's Rhamondre Stevenson for Jahan Dotson and the 110. Stevenson coming in at 294, Dotson 203, the 110, 184 for a total of 387. Okay, so let me just start out by saying this. It's the package for me. I want the 110 and Jahan Dotson. This is Dotson over the 110. Not super sure how I feel about that.
I'm in. I like it.
Well, you would. Penn State. So I would trade Jahan Dotson for Rhamondre Stevenson. I would not trade the 110 for Rhamondre Stevenson. Now, in Superflex leagues, hold on, I have my Trade Addicts ADP, which is only minorly messed with by fellow DLFer Matt Price taking Anthony Richardson first and then Bijan second because he had both picks. There was one other draft where the 101 took Richardson and Bijan went 102. So there only should be one. And then there was one where I had pick 6 and 7 and JSN went 5. So I'm like, you know what? Take that, Gibbs. And I went Addison and then Gibbs. So I pushed one spot lower.
Yeah, ruin the ADP.
Yeah. Okay, so around the 10th player, you're looking at Zay Flowers, Will Levis, maybe Quentin Johnston has fallen past that spot.
I was gonna say throw Kincaid in there too as a group. I know Trade Addicts are tight end premium.
Yeah,
so that might bump Kincaid to 8 or 9. But I feel like in a normal Superflex leagues, Kincaid is in that group.
Yeah, and it's after Levis. You have a decent drop of like almost 2 full picks before you get to Charbonnet and A Chain, which I don't know why people aren't going more crazy about a fast receiving back that got drafted by the Dolphins. I
Because
don't
he's
get it.
185 pounds or whatever it is.
I will love it until he gets literally broken in half, getting tackled by a gigantic defensive lineman. It'll be a great
Yep.
6 plays.
Love it.
So I at that point I want them above Dotson, and if I like Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, if he ends up starting, he's dependable enough. There's just a lot going on in Washington, and Washington hasn't always been the most dependable team to have fantasy players on. So, about Dotson, which is why I'd be willing to send him away for probably top 12 to 16-ish running back feeling ish. Because I think he was around 11, I think, last year.
I'm seeing RB9
Oh,
last year. But
okay,
actually from week 5 on, he was averaging 16 points per game, which was RB6. So because Damian Harris
got hurt a lot.
Harris had massive volume at the very beginning of the year, but then got hurt, and that's when Stevenson kind of took over. And then when Harris came back, they kind of stuck with Stevenson.
Yeah.
So he was a top 10 back last year, just in the entirety of the season, with borderline top 5 upside when he had the backfield to himself, or was the 1A in the backfield with Damian Harris, which is what he's going to be like this year. Even if they bring in a Zeke Elliott. So that's the upside that you're looking at with Stevenson.
So maybe I need to be higher on Rhamondre Stevenson.
Yeah, I feel like I have that same issue where I look at Stevenson and I say the same thing. I'm like, solid top 15 back, and then everybody else is like, well, he's top 10, and I'm like, I don't know, like something mentally is blocking that.
I don't think the value. Okay, let me say this. He probably will be in production. I don't think he ever will be in value. He could finish as like the RB6 this year and still be the RB12 to 14 in dynasty value. Maybe. Just because he's on the Patriots, and by then he'll be old.
Right. He's 25 right now. He's on the Patriots. He was a day 3 pick, so there was that too.
I really hope by now that is not part of anyone's equation.
No, I mean, I feel like that can kind of come in with longevity.
Or also, if you're, because like, well, this team drafted Gibbs in the first, and now they drafted him in the third 4 years ago. She's like, no, I don't think that matters.
There's stuff that bakes into Stevenson's value.
Absolutely. So maybe I do need to be a little bit higher in him. Okay, you know what? Hearing all of that, I will take away the reservations. I would take Stevenson over each of these pieces individually. I still don't think I'm willing to give both.
That's essentially how I feel. I would take Stevenson over Dotson, even though I love Dotson. I think he's a fantastic buy target right now. I'm not sending what other people believe to be a top 10, what I still believe to be a solid like back end RB1, top 15 running back for a wide receiver that I really, really like, but could realistically just be like a top 30 guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like, there might not be much more upside than that with his situation behind Terry McLaurin with Sam Howell, unless Sam Howell like really explodes, which I would love, but
would be great.
So yeah, I would take Stevenson over Dotson. I'd take Stevenson over the 110. Each of those pieces individually, I just think together there's just a little bit more value that just kind of, I feel like I'd be trying to do something a little bit different. If it was Dotson in a 24 second or the 110 in a 24 second, much more into that. On the flip side though, if you really do believe in Stevenson, I don't think this is a bad price to pay.
Let's move on to the next one to see how it goes. 12-team, 1 quarterback, Rhamondre Stevenson, DeAndre Hopkins, and the 206 for the 102. On the other hand, I would easily give this up to go get Gibbs.
Yeah.
Okay, let me change that, because if you're giving up a running back and you're giving up Hopkins, I would give it up for JSN or Addison also. Like, I am thrilled with Addison's landing spot. I love him on the other side of Justin Jefferson. Like, you literally won't be able to put more than one guy on Jordan Addison, and he should be good enough to be able to take advantage of that. If I'm rebuilding or if I'm competing, I think I'd send these away to go get one of those 3 players and feel pretty good about it.
Yep, I completely agree. This is the 1.02 for me. If you're going to take Jahmyr Gibbs, I would do it for JSN. not in the same. I'm not there with Jordan Addison yet. I see the upside. Obviously, he has a fantastic last name, so he's got a lot of brownie points in the old heart here. Um, but I would definitely like at where we're at with this trade right now. I'm 100% hitting reset on Rhamondre Stevenson. You're getting Jahmyr Gibbs, who's 4 years younger, probably a better talent, probably has better opportunity in terms of potential fantasy points. Like I think
The
he's
openness of an offense.
yeah, a better offense, more potentially receiving volume. Although Stevenson did really well for receiving last year,
Yeah, he actually had a
a
lot of
ton of
targets.
receptions and
Yeah.
targets. But I think there's just the age and the longevity with Jahmyr Gibbs. He was a top 15 pick. They're going to use him. I would be thrilled to send this away if I was competing or rebuilding and go get Gibbs or go get JSN.
Or honestly, because I know it's more useful most of the time if we talk like this is the final trade. Like if this was on the clock and then you use the 102. But in reality, if you're sending 3 pieces for the 102, you could then turn around and trade the 102 for 2 pieces and walk away at such a gain because of the condensed value of that one piece versus the compiled value of the 3 you originally had.
Right.
If that made sense. It made sense in my head.
It makes sense to me. Yes.
It's good
the
enough.
3 for 1
Like
that you pay and
this
then
is about
sell
you
for
and
a
me.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
The 2
Like,
for 1 could be better.
Yeah, you can sell the 102 and get better pieces than you would if you were to sell those 3. Yeah, I'm good enough. Moving on. You want to take this one? Because
No, he's been your guy for the past. He's getting replaced. Actually, I've bought a new jersey. I won't say who it was, but I have bought a new one, and I've decided that DeAndre Swift is going to be the guy to get replaced.
it's not the green 0. You are. Did you like come to an agreement with the wife? You only get 2. You can't hang up a 3rd jersey.
Oh, I think I do actually have an extra frame. Now that you say that, I might have an extra frame. No, I just don't want to go buy more. I think it's laziness at that point.
You don't have to talk to me. How long did I have all of my pictures just sitting on the floor?
I don't know. Maybe if Michaels has another BOGO deal for these things, I'll probably pick up 2 more for $50.
I'm actually heading to Michael's today. I'll let you know.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on to DeAndre Swift, obviously, and I was very worried for like 30 seconds. Like they draft Gibbs, and it's just like you're gonna trade Swift, right? You're gonna trade Swift, right? Thank you. You traded Swift, and then they traded him to the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Yes. Like this is like goodbye, Rashad Penny. You're probably not making the roster now. Like this is what we were waiting for by them giving him $165,000. Like this is literally the fit you want for Swift. Like he doesn't need to be an every down back in Philadelphia to be great for fantasy. Mm-hmm. We need him to stay healthy. But what certain player had soft tissue injuries every single year of his career until he went to Philadelphia?
Frank Gore.
Really weird how much he did get hurt in the beginning of his career.
Yes.
No, but AJ Brown, like literally missed multiple games every single season with hamstring injuries. And then he plays the whole season when he goes to Philadelphia. Clearly that is static, sticky, and it's science.
Yeah.
It's the cheesesteaks. You know, it beefs up your tendons.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was like the weird Moving on. Like if Swift plays most of the games, which with the extended season, I don't even really think I'm good expecting everyone to miss at least a game. Thrilled if they don't. He should be really, really good for fantasy. And again, with Swift, you're always going to be talking at a points per game basis because again, you're going to expect him to miss a lot. So I'm all in. Like I was in if he were still on Detroit and then just went to literally probably the best spot.
Yeah.
Because Gainwell's okay. It's not good. He's okay. Penny stays healthy less than Swift does anyway. You know, so I am in. Well, okay, no, I need to say one more thing that I'm very, very, very serious about. Why number 0?
Oh, dude, it's sexy, bro.
First of all, okay, well, if this is true, it was a secondhand account. Someone tweeted out his response, like, why did you choose number 0? and he said it's the amount of times the Cowboys have made it to the NFC Championship games in my lifetime.
There's no way he actually said that.
If that's real, and he's been an Eagle for 30 seconds, all in.
He's about to score like 300 fantasy points.
Then you're
that,
gonna see that green 0 jersey right here. Like I am all in if I find out that's real.
There's no way that's real, but I want it to be real.
I want it to be real so bad. All right, so let's get into the first trade. In a 12-team Superflex league, you have DeAndre Swift, the 112 and the 212, for his now replacement, Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs only in at 374. That's surprising. DeAndre Swift at 217, the 112 at 144, and the 212 at 52 for a total of 413. So 413 to 374. I think I still want Gibbs here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that, I don't. Okay, so let's get rid of the 212 and say it is Swift and like the 108. If I could walk away with Swift and Quentin Johnston, I might feel different. I'd probably still just rather take Gibbs in the long run. Because while I do believe in Swift, I have a little bit of faith, not that much. They spent, I do think Gibbs will work out where he is. We need things to go right for Swift, so the 212 isn't enough for me to. Both sides are risky, but that's extra risky.
Yeah. I think this could go one of two ways. So you and I always talk about how we love trading down, acquiring extra assets.
Yeah.
So if you believe that DeAndre Swift, can be on a points per game basis similar to Jahmyr Gibbs, I think Gibbs has a lot more that Swift doesn't. A lot less baggage. He doesn't have the injury concerns. He's younger. He's in the same situation that Swift was just coming from, which has been proven to be a very productive situation, and for any running back in Detroit, basically. Whereas
the guy who scored 37 touchdowns in one season is gone.
Yes, exactly. So, but then you can argue that DeAndre Swift, with the Eagles, maybe he doesn't see the same receiving volume because Jalen Hurts doesn't check it down as much. All that kind of stuff. There's less baggage with Jahmyr Gibbs, but if you do believe that on a points per game basis that they're going to score kind of similarly, yes, it's the 112 and the 212, but like that's like an extra first and an extra second that you can still try to hit on. Like you could have just turned Jahmyr Gibbs into Swift and A-Chain, and at the 212 maybe you get like Roshan Johnson or Marvin Mims, or I've seen all those guys down there at that 212 range. I've seen it.
None of them made it that far. If I'm in
Jalen Hyatt.
There you go. Perfect. He's 26. Tank Bigsby, Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, Luke Musgrave, Mims up there at 20, Roshan at 19.
There's potential in there that if you hit on the guy, then it makes the trade worth it for sure. I like both sides of this. If you want the less baggage and you want to hit reset, take Gibbs. If you think that Gibbs and Swift could be similar, get the extra shot.
And just to throw it out there, points per game, what do you mean similar? Are you talking like 1-2 points, or are you like 3-4 points? And I know that sounds like a small difference, but it's difference.
No, like 1 and 2. Like Gibbs, they're both in the 13, 14, 15 range. Both of them.
If that's the case, then yeah, I would be good with Swift plus.
Yeah.
Still would feel better if it was like the 108, but no, I see what you're saying. The next trade, 12-team, 1 quarterback. The trade is DeAndre Swift and Jelani Woods. Caution, Team B is giving up the highest value asset and the most pieces in the deal. Yeah, Treylon Burks being the most valuable asset. Treylon Burks, Brian Robinson in the 212. Swift in at 282, 283. Jelani Woods at 14 for a total of 297. Burks 382. B-Rob, well, I can't say that anymore because now Bijan is another B-Rob. Brian Robinson at 96 and the 212 at 55 for a total of 532.
Could Brian Robinson be Bree-Rob?
Bry-Rob? Bryob? No, not going to try it. So Swift for Burks, Robinson, and the 212. Man, I just really like Burks. And Robinson, while he has literally no shine on him, he will fit in as a low-end RB2. I think I would take Burks and Robinson side, but I don't feel super strongly against it. Like, I don't feel as lopsided as this is showing.
Yeah, I was very surprised with how big of a difference there was in these trades. Like I feel like this shows. Obviously, this hasn't updated yet. We don't have May ADP, but I would
Yeah, we just
imagine
finished my
Swift's
mock yet.
value would go up. I think.
But even still, they have a difference of ADP of like 7 picks, but there's 100-point difference between them in the analyzer. Like that's a little rough.
The ranks are there's a 14-point rank difference too.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I don't think it's as far apart as it is. And like I said before, there's a chance Burks doesn't happen, and there is just no shine on Robinson. There's shine on Swift's possibilities. Like, even if you're not a fan of the guy, he is now the running back for the Eagles. And that comes with upside just because of how good the offense is. Even if you don't think he's good, he's in a really good situation, and that matters more for running backs.
Right.
So I like both sides of this, but I really, weirdly enough, think the safer and probably more commonly chosen side would be Swift in this one.
I think that, yeah, I feel like the cop-out answer for me on this one is what direction is your team heading in?
That's the real answer, but I wasn't going to do it. I'm very glad you did it so I can make fun of you, even though I was in the back of my head too.
There, yeah. So if you're competing and you want to swing for that upside of DeAndre Swift being a top 10 back, putting it all together, not being injured, I think this is a fantastic way to do that. Or on the other side, if you're rebuilding, you just want to move off Swift, you get who we hoped could be a solid wide receiver too with upside and Treylon Burks. And, maybe you don't lose all that much production. If Swift is still injury naggingness and Robinson's just giving you 11 to 13 points every week,
12
then
points per game, and that's like every week.
That's what you're getting. Maybe he'll give you 17 that one week he scores a touchdown, and yeah. But
okay, the next player is a winner because partially of one of the guys I mentioned. I almost started dancing when I saw that Marvin Mims got drafted by the Broncos because it was literally the perfect fit for him. They have a couple of fast guys on their team. They have one or two big guys on their team. But Marvin Mims is such a good deep ball tracker. Why not put him with the best deep ball thrower in the league? Forgetting that last year happened. Like
up to 2022.
He just needed to get used to the altitude. I mean, I will make all the excuses in the world because that was so off character for just grossness. So yeah, Russell Wilson is, at least was in my estimations. There you go. A winner from this draft. Like, I think they bettered their team, and I'm really curious what happens with Courtland Sutton. I'm not super sure he's there. If he's there for the season, he's probably not there afterwards. But I love the addition of Mims. I think it's literally just a perfect fit. Plus, we can't stop discounting Sean Payton being there. We don't even know what that means yet, but it still just feels good, compared to what they're coming from.
Javonte Williams could be coming back in whatever capacity that is. I think this Broncos team is going to be really, really, well, I shouldn't say really, really good. I think it's going to be a lot better than what people think. And certainly better than what it was last year. And Russ is going to be a big part of that. I love him. I think he's a fantastic buy low right now.
Yep, but let's see how low. The first trade we have is 12 teams. So both trades are 12-team super flex. We have Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers for Kyler Murray. All right, not this one quite. So Russ Wilson in at 228, Aaron Rodgers 194 for a total of 421, Kyler in at 626. Now I get it. You're sitting there, you have a competitive team, you probably either lost out in the playoffs because you lost Kyler, or you got lucky because you had Geno as your QB3. Not speaking from experience or anything. Totally speaking from experience. I got very lucky. I would love to be able to send a 34 and 39-year-old quarterback and get Kyler Murray back from it. Like, I get it. These two guys are probably going to score a decent amount of points this season. Now that we know Rodgers is a Jet, and wow, they got him in the Jets jersey already in the picture on the analyzer. I wonder if it's a real pick or if someone got a little work done. I feel like you can walk in with these guys as your man, even as you're starting two QBs and you don't feel bad about it, but like if they're your 2 and 3, you feel pretty good. And like imagine you have Hurts as your QB1, but like if that's the case, I do whatever I can to go get Desmond Ridder or Derek Carr to hold me over for half a season so I could walk around with Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray as my quarterback for the second half. Like, sending Kyler for these two is not my jam. I get it. I get that some people like to see these things in May, where it's May. You shouldn't be pushing for old people in May. And one of them is actually sort of close to my age, so I can call them old because I know I'm old. Russell Wilson, not quite there yet. This is Kyler to me. Like, the analyzer says so. It's compiled old man value. I don't dislike having either of those guys on my team, but not at the cost of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I was trying to weigh out how I felt about this between my love of buying low on Kyler and then my love of buying low on Russell Wilson. Because I literally saw this and I'm like, bro, if you're competing and you just turn Kyler Murray into your two starting quarterbacks that are both, I think both realistically could finish as QB1s this year.
Yeah, they definitely both have a chance. And then retire the year after, but whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, like I saw this and I was like, that was the first thing that hit me. I was like, dude, somebody who's competing out there just got potentially 2 QB1s for Kyler Murray, and they have a really good shot at winning it if the rest of their roster fits.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, like I felt like I just kind of thought more on it, and I was just I got off that initial reaction, and I was like, this is a fantastic way to go buy Kyler Murray for two old quarterbacks, one of them who could realistically retire next year. And then Sean Payton even said that if Russell Wilson doesn't work out this year, they're going to be exploring options.
Oh yeah, they have to at some point. Like, they have to realize it's a lost cause eventually.
Right. So there's downside for sure on the Wilson and Rodgers side.
Yeah, it's the old phrase, if you think winning is worth it, right? Like, you can take those two quarterbacks to a championship, win your league, and then you spend the next 3 years of paid buy-ins trying to get someone else like Kyler Murray on your team. Mm-hmm. It could be worth it. To do it in May is a little iffy for me also.
Right. Do you want to be the Buccaneers and have Baker and John Wolford on your team in 2 or 3 years, but you won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Or do you want Kyler?
I'll take the championship. The next trade is Russell Wilson, a 24 second, and Odell Beckham Jr. for a 24 first and the 111. Mm-hmm. So Wilson at 228, the 24 second at 115, Odell Beckham 331, the 24 first at 337, the 111 at 152 for a total of 489. Real life, Russell Wilson or the 111?
Russ.
Yeah. How high are you going? How early are you going for Russell Wilson?
I want JSN. So 6, top 6.
I mean, I'm going to go to 9. Give me Quentin Johnston after that. So that, like, yeah. Okay. So, like, I don't want to just easily say the picks, but I think the answer might be.
I'm team Russell Wilson on this one, dude.
Those picks are just so shiny right now.
Well, the 111, I mean, we just talked about, like, you're not getting,
like, you're getting Devin A. Chain, you're getting
maybe like, Will Levis,
yeah, like
Henry Miller, Charbonnet. That's who you're getting at 111.
Yeah,
and then you're getting a 24. Like, the way I look at this is, like, from the 111's point of view, if that's your 111, like, you just came in second place, you got the 111. That is also your future first, and you could just go get Russell Wilson. You're getting a second back too. So if that 24 first is yours and it ends up being late, or you win and that's 112 next year, and that 24 first or 24 second could be like that's only like like a 5 or 6 pick swap.
Yeah. So, okay. So Russell Wilson, even if we go with my estimations and we say he's like the 109, so we're eating out of the value of the 24 first a bit to get that 111 to the 109. And then we're saying a second and an Odell Beckham for that partially eaten 24 first. That makes sense. Like, while Odell Beckham is not going to be a wide receiver 1 or anything, he has a chance of being useful. Like, I don't know how much use, but like, if you end up using him in your lineup 2-3 times and him not losing you the week, it's a victory for this price.
Right. Yeah, I kind of ignored him on this, but yeah, if he gives you Zay Jones level of production where you
That might be a little high even for what I was thinking, like what Zay Jones did last year, because the weirdness of last year in Jacksonville was literally split into thirds. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Engram. Like they were just Trevor Lawrence was just trying them out. But yeah, like if you're talking about like 2 years ago, Tyler Boyd numbers,
or like what DJ Chark was on the Lions.
Yeah,
there you go. That could be it.
Like you'll be okay with that, assuming you play him on the right weeks and such. So yeah, no, I'll go to the Russell Wilson side on this. I don't know if I would do it in real life, but looking at it and everything the way you made me think about it, I think I lean the Russell Wilson side.
Yeah, I definitely think this is one of those trades that I think this is, if you're trying to get Russell Wilson and you send this out, this is probably getting auto accepted.
Yes.
Because I feel like with the rookie fever and stuff, and people might still be down on Russell Wilson. I would still 100% send this to go get Russell Wilson and not really have to talk much about it. But there are a lot of trades in the trade finder. I actually tweeted it out while I was searching up trades for this show, of like a handful of trades that I just think are kind of disgustingly low valued for Russ. Like it was like Russ, one of them was Russ straight up for the 110 in Superflex, which I just, bam, you just got a QB2 with QB1 upside for the 110. And there are a bunch of other trades that were as bad or even worse than that were in the trade finder since the start of May, that I think Russell Wilson is just a fantastic buy low right now. And I feel like this is one of the ones that the value seems a little bit higher than where you would have to buy Russ for right now, but I'd still happily do this.
I like it. I'm going to go offer some trades now. All right. Well, that has concluded our NFL draft coverage. I shouldn't say that definitively because I have no idea what we're talking about next week. Neither does Addison, so it's fine. But that at least ends this show of the DLF Trade Show, the DLF YouTube channel. Russ Fisher at Dynasty Ad House, Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes_. We'll catch you next time.